This isn't about being on the side of what's righteous or what's fair. It's 31 against 1.
In a way, the media is falling for and taking the bait on what Goodell is saying, and has for a couple of months, because it is like a dog seeing a squirrel. The 24-hour media cycle, Goodell had to, for whatever reason, he took questions from the media on this, and he took about 5 minutes worth of them if you go back and watch the press conference, and then the poor reporter, he could have asked whatever he wanted. He's from Buffalo, and he's going to ask about the Buffalo Stadium deal because he gets one question when the microphone's to him, and that started a cycle of other questions. Fine. The bait, though, is, hey, he has been, we find the organization, we find Snyder an unprecedented amount, and he hasn't been a part of the organization in 4 months, and there's no timetable on the suspension, right? That this is unprecedented on how we're going about this. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's about to be traded, and there's talk about whether or not he's going to be available to the team that's trading for him, and Gruden's out of the league, and now all of a sudden we're starting to hear leaks of internal fight among owners going on with Stan Kroenke, and now all the media is latching on to that and start reporting on Kroenke in L.A., and that's the new news cycle. That's today's news. Yesterday was Goodell's comments on Snyder, and it'll surface back the next time Goodell takes to the podium.
Breer, by the way, said that Snyder's been at every Washington football game this year, and front and center in his box at the home games. So I don't know the degree of the punishment with this invisibility and removal, for the time being as the CEO. Yeah. What is it in effect? In effect, it's not much.
You're going to take this answer and like it, and for the most part, the media does.
But here's a development today.
Now the debate is whether or not Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans are going to get 3 first-round picks for a guy who 4 months ago was in the media cycle, more than that, 5-6 months ago in the media cycle, for civil lawsuits for harassment of 22 women.
Here's a media development, though, today that circles to what Chad said. Because another one of Roger Goodell's bosses, not a favored one that just got screwed out of this whole thing, said he thinks there should be a written report. Mark Davis.
Oh, of course he said that.
Yeah.
Why do you think he said that?
Well, because his coach ended up a victim of this whole thing.
Yeah, he wants others to pay the price for what he did.
He's one of the 32 also. So Roger Goodell's covering for one of the 32. But another one of the 32 is saying, hey, you're not handling this right. And now this Kroenke thing is causing a fracture where potentially the owners are fighting. There is trouble amongst all of these 32 who phone in to Park Avenue and who are meeting in New York right now. Roger Goodell does not have smooth sailing with ownership. Jerry Jones is backed Kroenke, and now Kroenke potentially has the rest of the owners in a position where they're going to have to pay some big money to cover their asses for the move out of St. Louis, which a lot of them weren't convinced about should happen the way it did, and Jerry Jones brought them along. They're going to be pissed off that costs them money. They're not happy probably with how this Washington thing makes them look. They've got another owner calling for a written report. A written report's not going to save anything. The emails is what people want to see here.
Well,
and he's protecting people who aren't asking for protection.
And I understand what you're saying, where Davis is one of the 32 and Goodell also works for him. But what the other 31 will tell Davis is, do you want $321 million a year on the TV rights? Oh, you do? Okay. Then pipe down.
Yeah, they're also saying, protect my emails.
He will.
I don't want my emails out.
And it also helps that Davis's team's now 2-0 since all this went down. Like, the winning matters in all of this storyline too. I understand Davis is the odd man out because of Gruden's emails coming out based on this investigation and leaked the way they were. But again, is he going to take this so far that he's going to be outside the inner circle of $350 million a year on TV rights?
I hope he does, because they can't take that money from him. I mean, he's an owner. What have we always said? You can't force someone to sell something. So my response, if I'm Mark Davis to Roger Goodell, is you're going to give me that check because I own the Vegas Raiders.
No, Chad. The NFL owns him, because guess where he just moved to? Vegas. He was in Oakland, and he was approved to move to Vegas. Stan Kroenke was approved to move to Los Angeles, and at that point, you become property of the league.
Which is what happened to Bud
falls.
Adams when he came here. He basically traded his...
So the league has the ability to make him sell.
Not to make him sell.
Not make him sell, but he gave away a lot of...
He's given up his vote in a lot of ways.
Here's the sad part about it.
You think Jacksonville would have moved to Vegas?
Here's the sad part about it. The Raiders got railroaded in this whole
doubt.
deal. So it doesn't matter because it's 31 against 1. And this is not about what's fair. What's fair is they release the report and everyone else who's got blood on their hands in this report is exposed. And that's what Mark Davis is saying. But this isn't about being on the side of what's righteous or what's fair. It's 31 against 1. So Mark Davis can be pissed off all he wants and say all this stuff. But in that room, there's 31 other owners saying, I don't want my dirty laundry exposed. Sorry, someone hates your boy, John Gruden, and you got outed and you lost your buddy and your coach. But there's nothing you can do about it.
They should be against
And
Snyder.
you're right in this, Hutton, that there's only so much Mark Davis can do because in the end, there's nothing he could do.
But why isn't it
because
31
all he can do is
against-
complain about it because he's going to get outvoted and they're not going to release anything.
Why isn't it 31 against Snyder?
It doesn't make it right, though. I mean, I will side with Mark Davis on this. None of what I'm saying, while it's true and there's nothing that can happen, doesn't make it right about what happened to his team and all of this. And we can argue about John Gruden and should have been fired, whatever. The bottom line is the one person being affected by this being John Gruden of the Raiders in an investigation into the Washington football team. I laugh even stating that. That's wrong and it's not fair. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about billionaires who want to continue being billionaires.
And that is why it's not 31 against Snyder, because they do not want to set any precedent of not backing the other billionaires who continue to make millions upon millions every single year.
But in turn, they haven't backed Davis. You know what I'm saying?
They backed Davis by handing him Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean,
they
it's not,
handed him Las Vegas.
Right.
The same way they handed Kroenke a brand new state-of-the-art stadium in Los Angeles.
And they're not going to back Davis also, Paul, because they don't want to be the next. They don't want to be the next one.